Hello again, and welcome to part 3 of 3 of my video series. In this video we will be covering some of the more intricate parts of Rocket League and, in my opinion, what makes the game as interesting of an esport as they come. Thank you for tuning in, and enjoy. Ceiling shots are an advanced mechanic that can catch your opponents off guard if done right. There are two types of ceiling shots. One type involves simply driving on the ceiling and letting gravity pull you down, then flipping into the ball. The other involves jumping and using the force of your car hitting the ceiling to push you off. If you're just starting to do ceiling shots, doing the former is easier and more consistent. One key to understanding how ceiling shots work is that it's important not to jump off the ceiling. By either letting gravity take you off or using the force of impact to get your car off the ceiling, you never use the jump button. By doing this, you are able to keep your first jump indefinitely, and can therefore flip into the ball at any time. This negates the 1.5 second barrier to using your flip and gives you an advantage against your opponents. You can also jump off the ceiling to get to the ball faster in order to beat an opponent that may be challenging, but you will again have to abide by the rule of 1.5 seconds to use your flip. Flip resets are among the flashiest mechanics in Rocket League. However, they are also one of the more difficult to pull off. A flip reset can be thought of similarly to how the harder version of a ceiling shot is done, where you're landing all four wheels on the ceiling in order to reset the jump ability. The reason a flip reset is so difficult is because you're landing all four wheels on the ball, and thus you need an incredible amount of ball and car control to do this mechanic. It's important that when you get the ball in the air that you continue to boost toward it and flip your car around. This will better enable the surface of the ball to have all four wheels land on it. Trying to let the ball fall onto your undercarriage of your car is much harder and much more difficult to do. By boosting toward the ball, you're using the force of your car to press into the ball to give you a flip reset. Now you can either fall off the ball and flip into it like a ceiling shot, or you can instantly flip when you get the flip reset and flick the ball into the air. In and out saves may seem useless at first, but they also directly counter one of the intermediate skills we talked about, demos. The hardest part of an in and out save is actually saving a shot that is low to the ground. It's important to jump off the ceiling of the goal and flip when going for an in and out save, as this will let you cover more of the net. These can be tricky, but they can also catch your opponents off guard and give you a free goal on the counterattack. Pinches can be thought of similar to when you have a marble in your fingers and you squeeze it out of your hand. If you pull off a successful pinch, the ball will go extremely fast and will be very hard to handle. Pinches are especially useful if you're low on boost and need the ball to get out of your side of the field to relieve pressure. This can buy you and your team time to get boost and be better prepared for an attack. Some players have even been able to weaponize pitches by angling their car to shoot the ball across the field into the opposing net. Double taps are one of the most common but effective ways to score in high-level Rocket League. When planning to go for a double tap, it's important to hit the ball underneath it to hit it high up and aim for the backboard. It's also important to have plenty of boost, so you can hit the ball as soon as it bounces off the backboard. Reading the bounce is one of the hardest parts of doing double taps, but when practiced enough, they can lead to many goals throughout your Rocket League career. Air dribbles are exactly what they sound like, dribbling the ball, but in the air. However, they are far more difficult to pull off than just dribbling on the ground. There are three types of air dribbles. One starting from the ground and doing an air dribble. One starting off of a bounce and doing an air dribble. And the last and easiest starting from the wall and air dribbling. Like double taps, it's important to stay under the ball and lift it up with your car. Lightly touching the ball by feathering your boost will keep it close to you and thus able to be controlled and used more effectively to score. One of the most important things to do regarding defending is to spread out and protect the backboard. In all ranks, having the ball bounce freely off of the corners or the backboard can be extremely dangerous. Having a player positioned on the backboard can alleviate pressure and provide some much-needed security on defense. Generally, there should be a player challenging the ball, a player on the backboard, and a player that is close enough to the action they will be able to help if all else fails. Advanced positioning involves many of the skills that we have gone over in these videos and combines them together. Advanced positioning involves reading the field to determine where the ball is going, taking into consideration both your team and the opponent's positioning, and determining who is close to the ball in order to challenge it. In high-level rugby league, it is not uncommon for a player to cut rotation by turning around and challenging a ball because they are in the optimal position to do so. This can seem haphazard and random to lower-ranked players, but it can be vital in protecting the net and continuing an attack. That's everything I have to offer for this video series.
Okay, so that went into more.
We by no means covered everything.
That went into more of the fun side of Rocket League, in my opinion. Rocket League is one of those games where it gets more fun the more you can do in it, and like the more you play. So obviously, just driving around and not being able to hit the ball kind of sucks. So whenever your players are able to do some of this higher level stuff, the game definitely opens up and becomes more of a fun experience. But that kind of covered the higher, like some of the higher end stuff. There's definitely some mechanics I didn't put in there, such as like it's called the Musty Flick, where you kind of not quite like that, but you get a lot of power because you use your momentum of your flick hitting the ball. And then there's like one I'm currently learning, which is called the double flip reset, where you can kind of flip into the ball and get your flip back again from a first flip reset. Just doing one flip reset's really hard. So anytime you're adding extras, it gets exponentially harder. But was there any like questions about? I mean, there was also like advanced positioning where I talked about getting on your backboard and like protecting it, because it gets really awkward really fast if the ball slams above you and you're like in net instead of on the backboard. And that's kind of a part of reading the field, is like being able to determine if they're going to hit the backboard or if they're going to shoot the ball. So this one says backward peek. I don't really know what I did or if I did anything. But like just being able to protect the backboard it's really important because it makes it really awkward. I see this guy, he was up there, but he didn't really protect it, so I was able to shoot. I do remember this game now. I kind of did peek a little bit, but like the ball, like it was. I mean, this was very savable, but because he didn't actually go for it, it became like impossible, basically. And then I think there's. Oh, sorry.
Are you sharing your screen with us?
Oh my gosh, I'm so bad at this. There we go. Okay, now we're back in Rocket League. So yeah, we'll go back. So this Tanner guy, he didn't have a whole lot of boost, which probably affected it a little bit. But if he would have gone up on the backboard here, and a lot of it is about keeping your options open. So rotating back post is a big deal, which I didn't really cover in the videos. I probably should have. But rotations, a lot of it is like rotating back post, because, and for those that didn't play soccer for 13 years like I did, back post is the post that is farther away from the play that's occurring, and front post is the closer one. So, but keeping your options open. So like right now he's able to cover pretty much the whole net, but if he would have stayed a little bit farther back, then he can also get up on the wall, right? Pretty easy. And he kind of cut himself off from that. So because of that, this ends up being a really awkward read, because now his only option to get on the backboard is here. And if we slow it down and we watch from his point of view, this is like super awkward. Like jumping for a ball that's cutting across your plane of like momentum is just really hard. And because he wasn't able to do that, and he wasn't effectively positioned on the backboard, it ended up being a goal for us. And I think that happens a few times. Like that's pretty much like the only way we scored in this whole game, which I think is why I saved it, because that's a demo goal, so that's good. Also another thing, I know I talked about it in intermediate and I didn't really cover it. The demos are very effective if you use them correctly. So if you have a player that's chasing for a demo, and so again, it's kind of like value trading, where you want to take out the highest priority target, right? Usually the first man, sometimes, yeah, sure, he's attacking, and if you demo him, then the attack stops, which is really good. And the second man is kind of supportive, and the third man is like kind of the rock to make sure nothing crazy happens, like the ball doesn't just spill out and end up for a goal. If you're able to demo the third man, that is usually, especially when you're on offense, that is almost always going to be the highest priority target for you. And being able to tell who that is also very important. So I just took the ball away from two people, because first guy flicked it and I cut off the pass, right? So there's two people behind me now. I use my momentum. I take this boost. I prioritized taking the boost because I knew that he was, like, the way he was positioned is he's going to hit it into the corner, right? The way he's approaching the ball, he's going to hit into the corner. So I prioritized taking the boost, because if he doesn't have boost, even if he hits it up the wall, he can't do anything with it. And then as soon as I see that he passed me, the Tanner's over there, so we take out the third man, right? And this was like a 17 or 1800 lobby, which is almost SSL, very high rank. And because of that, we were able to get a free goal. And usually, like, at this rank, that's kind of all the goals is like capitalizing on mistakes. There's really not a whole lot of like blatant whiffs, but there are some mistakes. So here, again, it's not necessarily Tanner's fault, because he just have to block the goal, because Patrick could easily shoot this. But I get an absurdly good read and just tip it over him, right? Because there's no one on the backboard. So that's pretty much the best way to score goals, is just trying to capitalize, trying to figure out where the weaknesses are. And I think he double taps, doesn't he? Or he just shoots it straight in. So, but yeah, so demo goals are really valuable in offense, especially if you kill third man. That's like your highest priority target. Or sorry, demo. You don't kill people. This is a rated E game. And then, yeah, protecting your backboard. Like, these reads are like actually stupid good, which is why I saved the replay and I don't save a whole lot of replays. But if they would have been protecting the backboard better in both those instances, they probably wouldn't have been goals. So, because the shots were okay, the read was what made the shot, though, right? Like, the ability to hit this shot because it's unexpected is more impressive than the actual like power and placement of the shot itself, right? The placement's pretty good, but the actual ability, just getting it on target and knowing when you just have to get it on target to be dangerous, is almost more valuable at some points. Are there any other big brain questions that I can answer? I will answer anything. Team chemistry or passing plays.
Well, I don't know if this is big brain or not, but can you speak a little bit to the importance of kickoffs and maybe some of the strategy that goes behind those, and then if there are any kind of ways to practice and train kickoffs?
Sure. So, unfortunately, Rocket League doesn't have they have bots, but bots are really bad.
Yeah, the kickoff trading I've seen is really pretty lame.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So let's see. I'm trying to find one that has a decent. This one has a lot of goals. I haven't vetted these replays, so I could look really dumb in some of these, which is okay, because everyone looks bad at Rocket League at some point. But so, and these are just. I'll try to find like a scrim that we did. I graduated in December, so I haven't really played. I graduated last December, so I haven't really played with like a team in a while. But this one might be okay. Ugh, Neon Fields, gross. They took this map out of the game, but that's okay. Oh, this is when we versed. So we have Bernie from S&T and we have Chalks from Mizzou. And this was a team that I played with for a couple weeks, maybe a month or two. So we probably actually did comp kickoffs here because Bernie and Chalks are very, very good players. That's why they have SSL tags and I don't. So,
what do you mean by SSL?
SSL is Supersonic Legend.
Oh, I gotcha.
Which is the highest rank in the game, and I'm gonna do that. Well, he's using a decal that you got as a season reward for SSL at some point. It has like the Supersonic decal or the logo on it, and then Jesus, there we go. So Bernie, so you can tell a lot. So I use like quote unquote meme tags. The tag is what's underneath the names on the scoreboard. So like I'm using Season 1 Dunk Master, which is like not an impressive title at all. But Bernie is using a pink Season 1 SSL tournament tag, which there are in-game tournaments in the game that you can just kind of queue up randomly. If you win 3 of them at SSL rank, then you get a pink tag, which is pretty good. Chalks is using a meme tag too. Season 1 RN Genius is like getting SSL and Rumble, but he's well into SSL every season. So, and then Bexy is using the actual like Supersonic Legend tag, so the Season 1 tag. So Supersonic is the highest rank in the game. You do get tags for Grand Champ as well, which is one that I'm wearing. Dunk Master is for hoops. But anyway, they're really good at the game, so we are probably calming these. So these should be some good kickoffs to look at. Most of the time, with this team, we dig back left and back right kickoffs, which is when you position your car on like, so like Dolphin is going to position his car on the right side of the ball. Well, he should have. He wasn't very good at these. Or maybe he may have called he was going to try to win it, which is a good kickoff if he called that. Which you can kind of tell from our posturing. So he did not call that. So if he called that he was going to try to win the kickoff, usually one of us would be like more midfield, and we'd be able to act on these balls better because we would be expecting it to go. Winning a kickoff essentially means like it goes into the other team's half. That's not necessarily the only way you can win a kickoff, but that's what the terminology means. Technically, if we successfully lose the kickoff, which is going into our half, but it maintains in our control, then that's winning the kickoff, but it's called losing it because it goes into your half. That's just kind of the terminology. It's kind of confusing, but that's okay. Congratulations on graduating. Thank you. I am not using my biology degree yet, but maybe in the future. But yeah, so if he would have called that he was going to win the kickoff, then one of us would be postured up here instead of us going for our corner boost. But it happens. So we'll skip. Since we're just doing kickoffs, you don't need to watch them score on us. But we score 2, so we're good. I promise. Let's see how this kickoff. Usually I lose it. Yeah, so this is pretty textbook for what this team was aiming at. If you guys, I assume you guys know, but my name is Athlete in the game. Let's be. So I tried to lose it. So I positioned myself. So I made like this kind of wall on the left side of the ball, so the ball would go to the right. And then Dolphin was there just in case, because if me and Vexy do the exact same kickoff, it's gonna just be a dud, and it'll just lay in the middle. And that's why Bernie and Dolphin are cheating. This is called cheating whenever you creep up toward the kickoff, because if it does just die out in the middle, then usually the team that can get to it first ends up on the better end of that. But I intentionally lose it back right, and then that we could have done a little bit more with this, but it does give us momentum and pressure. So even though the terminology is losing the kickoff, I would say that we won. We won this kickoff successfully. Because Vexy doesn't have a whole lot of boost. Bernie should be relatively low because he cheated. Yeah, he's got 22, and then Vexy doesn't have anything yet because he hasn't gotten the side boost yet. So I would say that we technically won this kickoff. And there's a lot of strats you can do. Like you can, like again, if you have that player on your team that is just absurdly better than most players, then if they want to try to win the kickoff every time, or if they want to like always be the cheater, you can kind of this is the only real set play you can do in Rocket League. There are no penalty kicks, there are no corner kicks, there are no throw-ins. This is pretty much it. So you can get as creative as you want with this. There are some standardized kickoffs, like this one is pretty standard, where you have one person cheat. Obviously, the person does the kickoff, and then you try to direct it toward the person that's not cheating, because the person that's cheating is obviously there to clean it up. So this is a pretty standard kickoff. And I mean, there are different positions throughout the game, like for these kickoffs. Like as you can tell, this is a different position than the one. Actually, I think this might be the same one that we were just in. But this is pretty much this is like the only real thing that you can just make your own. If you have some really strange team dynamic, like a gold, a plat, and a supersonic legend, then maybe the supersonic legend goes for there's a thing called a fast kickoff, which is like you do a speed flip, which gets you an entire 1 Unreal unit extra of speed, which doesn't usually matter. But then they can like get here before the other player can even hit most of the time, unless the person does speed flip. And then they can win it that way. Like if you have someone that's just absurdly good, you can really make this your own and like kind of do whatever you want with it. And I mean, you can just go into an aerial view and just like draw it up. Like this is the only thing that you can literally take out a dry erase marker and just draw lines and be like, you go here, you go here, you go here, and this is the name of the play. Because there's nothing else. There's no other thing that you can just drop a play like that. You always need to be mindful though that the other team could counter your kickoff. They could mirror it. You need to have someone that is going to be in a position to where they can be that third man and that rock and that foundation that they can clean up whatever happens, because there's a lot of stuff that could happen on a kickoff that could catch you off guard. I mean, there's been kickoffs where it pinches out between the two people doing the kickoff, and it like, bounces hard off the wall and into the net. And there's kickoffs where one player gets super hard 50'd and the ball just goes flying into upper 90. Like, and sometimes you can't help it, and if it happens, it happens. But if you're gonna draw up a play, you have to be mindful that you need someone that will be able to clean up whatever mess could occur. But yeah, the kickoffs that we did on this team were pretty standard. Where you have a cheater. I kind of like going out away from where my teammate was driving toward, and then grabbing a few boosts. That way I can beat whoever is on the backfield. But like this kickoff, like it goes straight into the ceiling, right? Like there's just so much crazy stuff and so many different things that can happen that you all need to be ready for. And that should have been a way better shot. If I shot that on the right side of the net, that would have been a goal. But yeah, you can really make this whatever you want it to be. I assume that Frappe, I don't know why he changed his name to that. His name is Mocha. But I assume that he called that he was going to try to win it, which is why I cheated like this. Because like sometimes you win it, sometimes you don't. Even if you call that you're going to try to win the kickoff, you may not. So that was a pretty bad shot. Bernie did the right play, which is he fake challenged me because he knew I was going to beat him. And if I just straight beat him and get it on target, then it's a free goal for us. Yeah, we'll watch the rest of these kickoffs from like a bird's eye view and see what they do. So like this one is where it's a really dumb saying, but a lot of the the North American players, if you Q ranked at a high level, they'll do what's called left goes, which is when if you're tied, like we have both people on the diagonals, right? So they're both at the exact same distance. If you're at the same distance as another person, it's whoever's on the left side goes for the kickoff. So I assume that me and Vexy go for it. Yeah. It's a really dumb saying, but it is how most people play now. And you can kind of, well, if this thing wasn't in the way, you can kind of see like both teams do the exact same thing because there is a standardization to kickoffs and strategies. But like Bernie goes to boost, Dolphin goes to boost. Frappe cheats, Chalk cheats. Obviously, I go for kickoff, Vexy goes. But yeah, there is some like standardization to it, but you can really make it your own and do just about whatever you can imagine. As long as you have someone that can clean up the overflow, you should be good to go. And like right here, this is pretty successful for us. He loses it, but it goes straight to me, right? It's like we lost the kickoff, but now we have control. I should have done something better with that ball, but it ends up in us getting possession, and somehow we even get a goal. I don't really know how we get a goal here. We're just better. I don't know what happened. But yeah, there is standardization, but this is pretty much the only set play you can do. So have fun with it. Draw it up if you need to, and I mean, and see, there's why you cheat is because the ball went slightly into our side of the field, but not close enough to Frappe to beat Vexy. So then I take it, right? And then it's important as well to have like a game plan when you're in this position, when you're not the person that went for kickoff and you're not the person getting the boost. Your eyes pretty much, so like there's pretty much the order is like first man, second man, third man, right? Even on kickoff is pretty much that order. And so my eyes are pretty much always glued to their second man to try to figure out what's going to happen with him. Because that's ultimately who I'm beating, right? Like I don't care about Bernie anymore. I care about Vexy. If I can get to, there we go. So I'm worried about beating Vexy. And then I get a little greedy here where I tried to hit the ball plus take Bernie's boost. Because if I can do both, then that's going to be absurdly powerful and really put on a lot of pressure. I don't get it, but I do still put it in play, and then I get out of there, right? So there is like a cadence to it, but you can really make it. You can make it however you want. But for the most part, even to do the kickoff, like the order is already determined. Like first man, and then if you're calling to lose it, back left, second man, and then third man. Or like he'll be third man because he'll be back here, but if he gets the ball, he'll be second man. If he doesn't get the ball, he'll be third man. So there is like some order of operations here, but if you want to draw it up with your team and have a specially designed play for kickoffs, then this is the only time you can do it. So, yeah, and on this one, so I'm corner, so I'll go for it. The diagonals are always closest, and then followed by these guys, and then there's a spawn right here too. That's like, oh my god. So there's a spawn here, and then there's two spawns here. But the diagonals are always closer. It's like I call to lose it, and then he gets a touch, but now I'm third man because I went for kickoff, and then now these guys, so first man and second man. There's a cadence to it, but it's not too hard to learn, and then you can draw it up on your own team if you have a dynamic that is not like super balanced. The only way I can say to like really practice it is to go into standard 3v3. It's not ideal. Or, I mean, you could do it internally if you have 6 players, which would be phenomenal. But it's not super ideal to practice in standard, although now standard games last a little bit longer because they changed how casual works. But it's not super ideal, but that's definitely one way you can do it. and just making sure that like the player that's going to try to cover all the options and all the outcomes should most likely be your most solid player, unless that is who ends up taking it. And the kickoffs are pretty much randomized. There is like a way to figure out who's going to do each kickoff, but the actual order is the order is determined by who joins the game, but the type of kickoff it gives you is randomized. So it's basically randomized. So you can't really manipulate it too much to like make sure the best player's always taking it. But yeah, just draw it up. Did that kind of answer your question? I know I kind of went on a tangent because kickoffs are really important, and they can definitely win and lose you games. But there's not a whole lot of like differences, at least in the higher ranks.
That perfectly answered it. I didn't know if there was something I wasn't aware of, that there was a special training pack that you could put multiple people in and work with. I figured the bots were terrible, so I'm just looking for ways, because I agree. I think that they're very important. They can be something that really helps you control the game, but practicing them could be very complicated.
Yeah, the long answer to that is not yet. There's not a way to do it yet. I don't know how in the know you guys are. You guys are obviously very dedicated because you're here, which is awesome to see. But Rocket League will be switching game engines in the quote near future. Don't know when that is, but when they do that, I assume they will add things that would assist in you being able to practice kickoffs like that. Because the new engine will allow for like more modification tools, but not yet. So all you have are these just training packs, which are like individualized. And you can you can Google them. You can, whatever training pack you want, really. But yeah, in the near future, there will probably be a way to practice kickoffs better than just going into casual. Oh God, that was hard. But for now, no, there's not really anything you can do besides like just going to unranked, which kind of sucks. But I mean, you could always like get a, like I said, a little whiteboard and a dry erase marker and draw it up. I mean, do the football coach style and draw up a play, because that's the only time you're going to be able to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Are there any other questions?
Since there is kind of a meta to this, have you found it successful to break the meta just in terms of confusion? Like you were talking about, like mechanically it makes sense that the players in the diagonal are going to go for the ball. But you said before, everyone, like in North America, everyone goes left, right?
Yeah.
So has there ever been a time in terms where you're like, all right, we're going to go right, just to see if you can manipulate the other team based on their assumptions?
You can. So you can go right. Like you can do. The only thing I would advise against would be like sending not the closest person to go for kickoff. I don't think that's ever a good idea. Because usually what that ends up is your kickoff guy just getting beat and being out of the play, and now you're playing 2v3 for a little bit. But you can send like the opposite person. Usually it doesn't really matter. All right, story time, whichever. The whole reason why left goes became a thing was because of a game mode called Solo Standard, where they don't have anymore because it was not good. But it was basically 3v3 where you had to solo queue. And so I can't really show you guys what quick chatting is. But you use like the directional pad to like say things like passing or centering or good game after the game or whatever. And one of those quick chats is I got it, and another one is take the shot. So what would happen is you would have people that were even on the kickoff, and one would say, or they would both say like take the shot. So they're telling each other, hey, go for the kickoff. Like, you do it. I don't want to do it. You go for it. But then they would both say it, and then that would be confusing. And then they would both say, I got it. And then that would be confusing because you don't want to double kick. You don't want to both go for a kickoff. So like the whole left goes thing came about to enhance the quality of the kickoff because there were a lot of like just stupid miscommunications. But you guys hopefully don't have that in your high school team. So you can definitely, you can do right goes, and there are instances, where like professional teams, say they're down by 2 goals and they have 45 seconds left, then they might do right goes. They might, just to mix it up and see what happens. It usually doesn't end up too different, just because. I wanted to go into actual training. Just because, like, if I'm going for the kickoff, even if you're coming from my right, if I position my car in the right way to where I'm basically making a wall here, the ball is still going to go into my corner, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily matter. But yeah, you can totally do that. Like I said, like, have fun with the kickoffs. Like, it's like the only set play you can do. So if you decide to do right goes, then you can do that. You can mix it up. You definitely want to be practiced at it because it might throw off that'd be the biggest thing is like you're going to practice left goes so much that you're like intuitively going to know the kind of hierarchy of like first, second, and third man. Whereas if you go right goes, it might kind of throw it off a little bit, but you can definitely do that. And like there's an obvious meta to kickoffs for sure, but there's also a meta to like the game, right? Like the game has gone through, and it's not quite as like swingy as like League of Legends or a lot of other games, because the mechanics have never really changed too much. But a lot of the meta has shifted where, like, okay, so literally the very first season of professional play for Rocket League, this was the game-winning goal. Just that. That was what won them world championships. And then there was like 5 seasons later, there was a goal that was like a triple, like a double flip reset or something that won world championships. Like just the game has evolved so much where there is a meta, and like sometimes being super mechanical is the meta, and that's the way to counter your team or counter the opponent. And then sometimes just being faster is the meta and just hitting the ball. And sometimes doing awkward things like looking like you're going to go for a wall hit and then you pass it mid. So there's definitely a meta. Right now the meta is pretty much just be as fast as possible to the ball. But that'll change as soon as people start like possessing the ball more. And as soon as they stop just hitting it away. And then that'll change as soon as like people start doing more mechanical stuff. Like there is a meta to the game, and definitely breaking, like there have been teams that have really burst onto the scene because they broke the meta and because they took down like high level professional teams. So it's really up to your team dynamic. But like, and that's part of what makes Rocket League so much fun, is that like the higher the rank you are, the more you're going to be able to kind of play with it, right? Like the better your recoveries, the faster you're going to get on defense. The faster you get on defense, the more risky stuff you can go for. So depending on like how good your players are can really kind of determine how flexible you can be with what you're doing. But yeah, definitely, as far as your question goes, you can do right. Just be practiced at it. Know, like, kind of get it ingrained into your players' brains. And then as far as like the overall meta goes, definitely like if you are at a similar rank or at a similar skill set as your opponents, doing the weird stuff will work more. Like I pointed out in that one replay where I lined up because I thought he was going to hit it in a certain direction, but he kind of got around the ball more than I thought he would. Like that kind of threw me off, right? Because it was not the norm. So like doing strange stuff will help you win a lot of games if you're able to pull it off successfully. And if you can in real time dissect what your opponent is doing and counter it, that'll help you win pretty much all your games. If I could do that every game, I would never lose the game. Because figuring out what your opponent is not doing right will obviously help you win. So, do we have any other questions? Any like mechanical stuff or like I don't know. We've covered team play a little bit. I know I still need to go into how to like import your own replay files, which I can definitely do. Like how to kind of find that. There are some videos on YouTube, but you guys already have me, so I will help you out as much as I can. But yeah, that's pretty much Rocket League in a nutshell. It's not super complicated. At the very base level, it's hit ball and net. But the higher up you go, the more layers get added onto it for sure. There's also the mod that I talked about, Bacchus mod, I put in the Rocket League chat. There's like a little link. If you are just starting your program, and your players don't already have accounts, you're gonna have to play on Epic, which is like the platform. They made Fortnite, the Epic game launcher. So you won't have this workshop thing here. You'll have to use Bacchus mod to get those. There are tutorials for that. I can also help if you need me in the future. I don't think, can you guys see Bacchus mod right now? This is Bacchus mod. So there's like plugins and all kinds of stuff. It's basically, most people use it for items because it can change your car, but it can also get you into these workshop maps, which are really helpful. I just started using, or not just started, a couple months ago, I started using, so instead of like free air roll like this where I can change whichever direction I want, I'm using air roll right, which allows me for all the pilots in the group, you get your pitch, your yaw, and your I don't know, I call it tilt. I don't know what the actual term is. But you can do all three of those when you have air roll right or air roll left, and you're using that to aerial instead of like free air roll. So I started using that. And like this is like a workshop map where you can, you practice flying through these rings, and if you miss one, then you get reset to the last checkpoint. You'll be able to do stuff like this with Bacchus mod. Or if they have a Steam account, they can do this really easily. So,
is this account-based or machine-based?
I think it's technically both because you have to. So you download them from the Steam Workshop. I think you guys can see this. Like you can see my tab, right? So you download them from the Steam Workshop, and then you'll go to that Workshop tab. And be able to choose it if you're on Steam. And then technically it stores the file on your computer, but I think only this account can access the ones that it's like subscribed to. And if you have to play on Epic Games Launcher, there's a way to do it. It's very similar to how you put in like the Rocket League replay files, which I'll go over. But yeah, it's very similar to that. It's easier on Steam for sure. But there's that, like, these are like probably some of the best ways to like just, nose to the grindstone and just bust them out, because this is really like, yeah, playing games is fun and scoring goals is cool. This is really where you get better, when you're able to like master your car control, and put it into a direction that you want to go in and all that. So, and like this isn't even necessarily easy for me, and I have way too many hours in this game. So this is good practice for pretty much anybody. See, I can't even do it all. looks like fun. Yeah, these are kind of fun. Like these workshop maps are made to just have fun in. But they're also like that one is definitely a training one. There's some that are like just for fun. But there's like there's ring, like these are called ring maps. There's dribble maps. Aim training is pretty cool. So Steam Workshop. If they're playing on Steam, they'll be able to do Steam Workshop. Which I think if I click this, does that show it to you guys? Yeah, it does. So just by so all I'm doing is I'm pressing Shift Tab on Steam, and then Workshop, and then from here, like see this one's like a for fun map, right? But like this is like a dribble challenge. This is a rings map. There's some racing ones. Like there's some fun stuff and there's some serious stuff. So, but if you need to do it on Epic, I would look up like workshop maps on Epic or Rocket League workshop on Epic. There's definitely some tutorials. I've never personally had to do it, so I could probably help you if you needed my help. But I personally have never done it. I do know it's very similar to how you. It has to do with Bacchus mod, which is this thing, and you download a plugin, and then you put the workshop map into that plugin folder. And then you come here, and basically you kick off, and see this says load kickoff game, so you would just load the map that way. I actually don't know what the kickoff game is. Maybe I should look into this. Maybe this is how you train kickoffs. I don't know. I don't know. Kickoff game. Maybe you need someone to do this with you. But yeah, I think that's how it works. Is you save it into your Bacchus mod folder, and then you load it that way. So I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But yeah, are there any other things that I didn't cover, or anything that you've heard of? Any like mythical things out there that you are wondering about Rocket League before I show how to import a replay file? I'm going to try to find you a video. I'll just toss it into the chat. Let's see. Steam Workshop on Epic Game Rocket League. So this is a 3-minute video. I have no idea. So let's skip through it real quick. Play it like 100 times speed. But I assume this is decent. It's got a lot of likes, so if it's good, I'll toss it into the chat for you. Yeah, okay, this is a good one. So bam, there you go. I use my own Google foo. Okay, so we will talk about how to import a replay file. So who was the one that gave someone a replay file? Who was that?
I got the file from Chris.
Okay, so Chris, would you mind giving me one of your replay files? Do you mind DMing it to me?
He's got them all in my chat, so I'll just send you one.
Oh, cool. I want to make it as real as possible. Make sure that you can see what's going on. Okay. And if anyone thinks of any questions after I do the replay thing, I will answer those too. Because I'm pretty sure we still have an hour. So you guys are less chatty than last year's. That's okay.
You taught them everything last year. We're just the newbies.
I taught them everything last year for sure.
Don't know enough to ask good questions.
Hopefully I'm answering as much as I can. That's the goal. Okay.
Everything you've said so far has made sense, but I don't play the game, so it's like I don't know how the difficulty to actually teach this skill set to my new kids.
Well, the thing that makes Rocket League so it is unbelievably hard, and the only reason is because there is no other game like it. Like you can play as much Call of Duty or Fortnite or whatever. Any racing game, Forza, whatever. It doesn't matter. There's nothing else like it. That's what makes it ridiculously hard. Okay, so I think I have the replay file. Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna share my actual monitor. It's always dangerous to share your screen. How do I wait a second? Can I not just like screen capture? Might have to do some finagling here. This might be kind of scuffed, but I'm going to try to show you as much as I can. So I'm actually going to open up a recording software to capture my screen and then capture that in the Discord, because apparently I can't just capture my screen on Discord unless I can. I guarantee I'll have way more questions. Hey, that's fine. That's fine. You guys, I am in this server, so just hit me up. It's all good. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then I'm going to try to make it as easy to see as possible. Hopefully I can do that. Change window. OBS. Okay. Yeah, the game is unbelievably hard. I think one of the best qualities any of you are going to have as a coach is going to be encouraging your students to get better, because they are going to whiff a lot. Especially if they have never played before, they're going to miss the ball. They are going to miss saves. They may not be able to get off the ground. It is unbelievably hard. But yeah, okay. So we'll do this little tutorial. I'm going to try to make sure, yeah, so you guys are, it's kind of scuffed because I'm sharing a screen of a video capture software, so you guys can actually see my monitor. But anyway, so this is my Steam. This is the way I know how to show you where to find your folder. So bear with me. It's not going to be quite the same for Epic, but it'll be very similar. If you can find this folder, you'll be fine. So behind this, you can see I've done a lot of replay downloads. There's some other downloads in here too, but I don't think anything too crazy. So, so you'll go to Properties in Rocket League, and go to Local Files, and Browse. And then I'll go to TA Game. Wait, where's that? Should be here. This is not it. There should be. So in TA Game, there will be a demos file. I moved my Rocket League. I did some computer stuff, and I moved my Rocket League to my M.2, which makes it load faster, because I'm a nerd and I want to load fast. But there will be a file in here called demos, which is actually in my 4 terabyte file. Let me see if I can find it. 4 terabyte Steam. Yeah. Okay. So we're in Steam, and then we'll go to Steam Apps. Right? Steve and I get confused on doing this sometimes. It's not the easiest thing. It's kind of let's see, Steam Apps Common. There it is. Okay, and here's all your games. The heck? Did I move that too? Hang on, don't look at all my folders. It's scary. I wasn't prepared to do this. I see a lot of people typing. They're mad at me. They're all mad. They don't know how to do this. Okay, cool. I found it. Don't worry. Okay, so this is my actual directory. I moved my folders into games, and then my games are really TA Game. If you don't move your folders around, which you probably shouldn't, because my folder situation is a mess. But it'll be wherever you browse, and then this demos folder will be in here. It'll be right here. because as you can see, there's other stuff in here, but yeah, it'll be in there. And then here's all my replays. Usually I sort by date just because it gives me, so like if you sort by date, this will line up with your actual Rocket League folder. So value trade is my last one, August 20th, 2021. Okay, technically this is whatever. August, or no, this is from a long time ago. What the heck? But then it would be as easy as like my games, Rocket League. And after you find this folder, it'd be preferable if you just like drag and dropped it right there, right? Like you can just put it on your desktop. It'd be a lot easier. But then when you do that, it's as easy as like just dropping it into here. That's not actually going to take because this isn't actually my replay folder that it's working off of. I'll need to find that. But yeah, it's in your demos folder in the TA of your Rocket League, and then you would drag and drop it. And I would recommend whenever you find that folder to put it onto your desktop. That way you can find it easier because obviously I can't find mine as easy as I would like. And then whenever you do that, you'll have to reset. Like you'll have to not reset your game, but you have to close this like replays thing, and then when you open it back up, it should be there. So I want to actually do it for you. We'll see if I can figure it out. It's kind of what's the word? Monotonous. It's not fun. Yeah, my folders are all kinds of a mess. I was actually surprised I could find the video folders today. Let's see. Do I have any other? Do we have any other questions about Rocket League while I am frantically looking for my folder?
I found the Rocket League folder, but I don't see the demos in it. Maybe I haven't saved any games yet. Maybe that's why.
That could be why. I mean, like you saw with mine, that one Rocket League folder didn't have any demos in it. You could definitely try saving it. That would that would kind of make sense. It should. In my very limited experience of computer science, it should already have the folder for you. But
do you have the TA game folder?
I think that's what he was saying. He didn't have it, right? You don't
No,
see TA
I thought
game.
you said the demos.
I found the TA game folder, yes.
So when you click in the TA game folder, there's not a demos one?
There is not, no.
Okay. I had that issue the other night, actually, when I was trying to share those with you. That was the first time I'd ever messed with that stuff, so I was trying to figure it out myself. And the first time I went in, I had two separate Rocket League folders in my computer. One had it and one didn't. So I don't remember why one did and one didn't. I don't know what the difference was.
So the only thing I can think of is like sometimes this stuff is on my C drive, which is like where your operating system is stored. And then I have other ones, like I have this Rocket League one that has TA game, but there's no demos, right? So like I'm technically in my TA game folder. I think like if it makes backups, it's more so like for updates or something like that. I'm not really sure. But it should be on your C drive because that's where it like automatically stores it. And this is where my actual demos folder is, as you can tell, because I have demos backup and demos 3 on here, which it's really handy if you. So like for me, I do some professional coaching. So if I don't want to like be confused or like, because if someone sends you a demo file, when you put it into your folder, it will be the original date of that game. So like if someone sent me a game from July 6th or whatever, and I'm still in August, then I would have to scroll back here and try to find it, right? Like it would be here from July 6th. it wouldn't be at the top anymore. So it is valuable once you find this to like, I made a demos backup folder. So like I could just dump my demos into my demos backup and then put their demo into my demos, like delete everything else in here and then put their demo in here. So it's the only thing that shows up whenever I go to do a replay, right? That can be really helpful if you are like a montage maker and you're doing a few different montages. Like you can name these like different people's names, and then you can put their specific replay folder into their demo file, and then I want to work on this guy's today, so I put it into my actual demos, or I want to work on this guy's today, so I put it in here. But yeah, so if I actually put that original download wherever I put it, if I actually put that into here now, what do you know what date that game was from? I guess I'll actually show you guys this in action. So we'll take all these, and the reason why they do it like this is because it's a lot like League of Legends, where this takes up. Okay, I said I didn't save a whole lot of replays, but I obviously saved too many. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room to do it like this. So like this, it seems like it's a lot, right? But these are all in like kilobytes. So this will all transfer over into my demos backup almost instantaneously. So you take all these, and then you can copy, delete. It'll take like a second or two, and then I guess I should just do this. These are probably all the same, pretty much, from the last time I did this. But and then you'll paste them into here. Paste, and then skip. Okay, cool. So now they're in here, right? So now I can toss this demo, bang. And then I go out of here, and it's the only thing in there. So it is helpful to make a backup, and then, so I mean that one, in this particular instance, I didn't really need to do that because it was from August 19th, so it was like yesterday or 2 days ago. But if you had like old replays, then this is all you'll see. So yeah, definitely if you find that demo folder, which I'm going to actually practice what I preach, and I'm going to put that right here. Nice. And then I can just, easily move them all back and do whatever. So that is how you do that. I'm sorry that took a little bit longer than I would have liked. Cool. So did anyone come up with any questions that they have for me about what they would like to do, or any questions about like Rocket League or I mean just coaching in general? I've done a lot of like I basically coached my team while I was playing at Drury. I currently coach for Cloud9 as a part of their training grounds program. So if you guys have any questions, I am more than willing to answer them. But yeah, if you guys start playing the game, it is a slippery slope. So you might find yourself liking the game too much, and then you start playing all the time. But who knows?
That feeling. Do you have any recommendations as a coach for, how to balance scrimmage versus mechanic work time versus VOD review? Because I think one of the issues that we have sometimes is burnout. We play a lot and we work a lot. We always want to be competitive, but we don't want to just be scrimmaging all the time. We don't want to just be doing in-house scrims, because while playing is fun, sometimes you lose a little bit of the focus on developing and getting better. Do you have any recommendations on the breakdown of what you should be doing?
Yeah, so It really depends. Like, a lot of it is obviously it's up to the coaches, but you definitely want to have a healthy mixture of them. I would say a lot of like the teams that I've coached, I kind of heavily rely because I can't do the training for them, right? Like it's like a football coach. You know, they can't lift weights for you. They can't throw the ball. They can't do the stuff that you have to do in your off time. But they can facilitate it while they're there. So I when I am personally with my team or with any team that I'm coaching, we do a lot of replay reviews. It's a lot of replay review. It's probably close to 40 or 50% replay review because they have me at their disposal. Like I can't go play their games for them, but they have me. Like while they have me, I want them to get the most out of having me, out of having me there. A lot of the mechanic stuff, like I wasn't just like I was at Drury when I was learning how to do flip resets, but I wasn't waiting there for my coach to like tell me how to do them, right? Like it's really just doing the mechanics and practicing them on your own to get better at them. And sometimes it's super boring. I won't lie. Like just doing like what's a mechanic I need to work on? I need to do double flip resets. So, and you don't need to do this. This is like just extra stuff. But like I don't just sit here like I don't want to just sit here and fail at doing something over and over and over until I get it once or twice. But sometimes that's what you have to do, right? So a lot of the mechanic stuff is just like, you know, don't necessarily do something that's too distracting, but a lot of times I'll put on some music or something, and I'll set out with that goal of, you know, I'll go into a training pack, and I'm sure I have one saved somewhere. Yeah, backboard double touches. So I need to work on my double touches. You know, you want to have like the coach gives you and tells you like what you're missing and like what you could probably work out on because you can see it from a different point of view than they can. But then it's up to them to go into free play and work on double touches, right? Like a lot of the mechanical stuff you can't do for them, and you can't really. I mean, you can facilitate, like here, you know, if I saw that my kid was doing like this and like getting too far above the ball, I would tell them like, you know, you need to feather your boost, and you need to hit the ball evenly, and then you need to like the read is always going to go down a little bit if you hit it like flat, right? So like you can help them with that kind of stuff, but you can't really make them get better at double touches. But like most of the time, do probably like 90% of the time, it's either replay review or scrims, because scrims can be really valuable. And you said you were doing in-house scrims, which means you at least have 6 people, which is really good. But you also, I don't know, have you been looking for scrim partners like outside of your school, like just regular teams and everything?
Yeah, we just played against Curtis the other night. I like to try. I prefer not to do in-house if we can because then it just kind of gets stale. You kind of know who everybody is, but getting some different looks, giving some more variety is good.
Okay, yeah. So it's good that you're looking for other teams. There are, depending on how good your players are, there are other discords where finding like really high-level scrims can be beneficial. But that's good. That's good that you're not doing just straight in-houses because, yeah, like you said, like you start getting used to like what the other players are doing, and then you develop bad habits because it beats them, but it's not going to beat other people. So that's good. But yeah, it's mainly. I mean, we'll do like mechanical practice, and like when I was playing at Drury, we would have like a soft goal of, you know, practice mechanics for 30 minutes a day or whatever. And a lot of that was like kind of self-reliant where it's like, okay, you know, maybe my, I don't know, you just go in here, maybe my saves are bad. So I'll do that for 30 minutes before I start playing today. Okay, that was too easy. But it's stuff like that, like kind of figuring out what you're good at and what you're bad at, and seeing like what you've been lacking at is going to be really, really beneficial. But then like if I'm like, okay, I played a scrim last night and I missed, a few shots that should have been goals, so I'm going to practice going off the wall and shooting those. Apparently I need to practice. But yeah, it's and then like maybe, like I said, like maybe 10% mechanical training. At least while they're with you, you will need to put in a lot of time to be able to do like even just like if your program is just starting out and you don't have any kids that have played Rocket League before, or they're pretty new and they just want to get better at it, even just like doing this will take hours and hours and hours, like just so long. So it'll be where their time is focused outside of practice, but you can't do it for them and you can't make them good at it. So doing it during practice is pretty lackluster. I do encourage like a lot of times, like the camp that I just did for Cloud9, we did like kind of like icebreaker, like fun games and stuff. So like it was me and I was coaching an SSL versus like two like champ level, like Grand Champ 1 level players. So the SSL and we played against them like without boost, or we played like Rumble, or we played hoops or whatever. And like I do encourage like team building like that, but as far as like just straight training mechanics during practice time, you can, and I think it's decent to have like a goal to like get better at mechanics, and like that's kind of what drives you forward in this game, is to get better at the game. But like just sitting there and watching them do, if they need that kind of guidance, then for sure. But I think there's better ways to spend your time, like scrimming and like replay review. And I definitely try to, I don't know if any of you all are like super great at Rocket League, you're just amazing. But like if you have like a higher level player, like for sure let them get their say in, but you also want to have everyone communicate during replay review, because the more that they're talking to each other, the better of an idea. It builds that team chemistry that we were talking about earlier, where if they know how each other play, then their comms can be about something else, right? Not like off topic, like, did you see Sarah today? She was looking so cute. But like, you can talk about like, I'm getting boost instead of, or like I am going to rotate back. Like, they don't need to say that anymore. They can talk about like what's going to happen further along, and it'll increase their chemistry. And by talking about what they thought was going on in the replay, by having everyone's opinion shared, that'll help build that chemistry, because it'll help set expectations about between teammates and like what's going to happen. So definitely make sure that not just you, if you also have some good input, but that every player is getting some input, pretty much no matter what the rank disparity is. You want to make sure that they're understanding each other and like what's going on. Are there any other questions like about practicing or coaching? Or I know for a lot of you it might be your first time coaching anything, which is awesome that you're taking initiative. So if you have questions about coaching, I do a lot of it. Curtis, did you have anything?
Right now I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm not good at Rocket League. I downloaded it a couple weeks ago to start playing with kids. So I've gotten a lot of good information today. So I'm really excited to jump into and start playing with them and see how we can start to sort through some of this information together.
Yeah, like I was saying with the especially like if you just started, and your kids may just be starting, I think that the easiest thing, but one of the more effective things that you guys are gonna be able to do as coaches is to just encourage them, right? Because as Curtis is figuring out, very hard, very difficult, can't do a whole lot, especially when you start. But just encouraging them. And like the most satisfying thing about coaching lower ranked and lower skilled players is seeing that growth, because there is rapid growth, especially at the beginning. Like I'm at the point where it's pretty much diminishing returns for like how much time I put in. I'll get marginally better, but when they're really putting in that time, like the lower ranks, man, the growth is crazy. So if I had a first day meeting with students interested in participating in Rocket League, what question would you ask students to get an idea of their experience? On Discord, I have heard to ask for Rocket League rankings. Each student also request a highlight clip. A highlight clip? That's interesting. Any other thoughts? So, yeah. So rank is good. Rank is a baseline. Like you can see all the ranks here. The people that are on the list in front of you are, I'm pretty sure all of them are professionals, except for the 13-year-old, because he can't be, because he's got to be 15 to be a pro. But I think the clip is actually really funny. I think it's hilarious. That'd be good, I guess, to like see like a little bit of mechanical skill. That's kind of funny. I never thought about that. I would ask about like what their goals are. I think being goal oriented is definitely what helps you maintain motivation in this game, and in pretty much anything, right? Like most people, when they start playing a sport, their goal is to be at least decent. They don't want to be, maybe not an Olympian or a professional, but they want to be, they want to have fun, probably first and foremost, which is good. They want to be good. Yeah, definitely ask them what the goals are. I think that's a good way to kind of gauge it. You'll want to know what platform they play on, because if they play on like the Switch, then that's going to be an eye opener if you guys start playing on computers or anything. Maybe add in like a fun question, like who's your favorite pro, or something silly like that, or like what's your favorite mechanic. Just something a little bit lighthearted. If they don't know a pro, that's probably pretty telling, because they probably haven't played the game very much if they don't know any pros, or they at least don't watch the esport. Which watching, I do encourage, if you all have the time, whenever the RLCS season starts, which is also soon, don't know when, but whenever the RLCS season starts, I do encourage like having a little watch party that would kind of build team camaraderie a little bit, and you can cheer on teams or whatever you like. That might be fun for some of you if you have some dedicated players. Watching pros does make you better. Again, there's diminishing returns on that. Like, you don't just want to watch pros for like 12 hours a day, but watching pros play the game and kind of see how they understand it can definitely help on YouTube or live or on Twitch or whatever. So whenever the RLCS season starts, I would encourage that. But yeah, ask them their goals, ask them their experience for sure. Their rank is a good thing, but I kind of touched on it in the intermediate video, I think, where rank is good, but sometimes I would rather take a lower ranked player that has a good mindset and a good attitude over a higher ranked player that thinks he's just a god and doesn't really want to play well with his teammates. So, or she could be a god too, whatever. There's some really good female Rocket League players. But I definitely think that, you'll be able to judge that from tryouts or how they, how the comms go or whatever. But yeah, just add some fun questions in there, add some experience and some goals. Maybe like list out like your top 3 goals for this season or something. Like for me personally, I want to get better at air roll right. I want to get better at double flip resets, and I want to hit Supersonic Legend. So those are like my goals. Yeah, you're welcome. I think that's really good that you're kind of surveying. Does anyone else have any questions about their teams or anything? You guys got me for a whole 30 minutes, and then as you all mentioned, when you start playing, you'll have a lot more questions. So
Hey,
I
real
am.
quick.
Oh yeah. Go for it.
Sorry. I wanted to add on to the survey question for Keith. You may also ask, what do I need to know about coaching you? Like, what are some things that you respond to? What doesn't work? I mean, I think that's just a good question for any team. It doesn't matter if it's Rocket League, League of Legends, Overwatch, asking any of that type of stuff. I've always found I do that with my teachers. What do I need to know about when I coach you or work with you to give you the best feedback possible?
Yeah, it's definitely insightful. Yeah, the more information you get about coaching, the better you're going to be able to do it, right? If you know about your job, you're going to be able to do it better. So, and I definitely think those of you that are learning the game, learning alongside them, playing games with them, when I was playing soccer, a lot of my coaches they'd participate in the scrims, or they would, obviously they would come to games and stuff, but they would cheer us on and stuff. So the more hands-on and the more you put into it, I think you're going to get a lot out of your students. So, but if there's not a whole lot or any other questions, if you guys think of them while you're playing or while you're getting better or whatever, feel free to reach out. I can also, direct you to professional games. The professional scene has a lot of people that do YouTube. They also have a lot of people that do replay reviews. For Drury, we actually sent in one of our replays to a professional, and it was only $20 or something to have him kind of analyze it and see where our holes were, and that I feel like that helped us a little bit. Not as much as I would have liked, but it helped a little bit. So there's definitely some people that do that. But yeah, that would be cool. It is pretty neat. There's a lot of pros that'll do that. You have to pay a little bit, but when am I going pro? Well, unfortunately, I am probably too old to be pro, which is sad. But my goal right now is to be a consistent supersonic legend. Yeah, I graduated college. I'm way too old.
I don't know if they saw, but the KC Pioneers, you might have touched on this, signed that 13-year-old.
Yeah, they just signed a 13-year-old, yeah. So that's actually very interesting. So Rocket League, because it's rated, I think it's rated E. I don't actually know. I never bought a physical box that tells you the rating. Yeah, okay, so it's E. So they have set a limit that you have to be 15 to turn pro, which is good because 15-year-olds are I think you're starting high school, you're a freshman or something. But so the KC Pioneers just signed a 13-year-old to a multi-year deal, which is quite the investment because I think he's got a year and a couple months until he's 15. He hasn't quite got his birthday yet this year, so I don't know if he's actually on the top 100. But this guy's name is Feels 13. This guy's 13. Maybe this guy goes to one of your schools. I don't know. This dude would mop me up and down the floor. So, I think that's also something that you should talk to your students about. Some of them may come in and they're like, I want to be a professional, and they can be a professional. But the first step is, especially if you're young enough, is getting on this list. Almost all these players are professionals, are going to be professionals. And being top 100 in the world at anything is hard. So how is going to high school if he is pro? So for the 13-year-old, he will probably stay in school until at least he's 15. A lot of the professionals do switch to homeschooling at some point. There's a professional right now that's really popular named Squishy Muffins, and he actually finished his GED his senior year at homeschool. He had gone to high school for most of his schooling career, but he finished his GED homeschooled. So going pro takes a lot of work, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but this guy, 161 hours in the past 2 weeks. He's working 2 full-time jobs every week to be a professional player in Rocket League. That's a lot. That is a commitment. And although it is playing a video game, and haha, it's a video game, it's supposed to be fun, that is a lot of hours. That's a lot of hours. What are they paying him? This isn't actually the guy that got signed. This guy is just 13 and is probably aspiring to go pro. I don't really know what they're paying. The guy's name is Drury. I don't think he may not be on this list yet. But yeah, like professional player, professional, professional, pro, used to be pro. Like these guys are all pros. Squishy, that's the guy I was talking about, that he got his GED in high school. Kinsey just won a tournament. This guy just got signed onto a CRL team.
Do they just play until they, A, don't want to, or B, they're just, I guess, too old, they don't respond fast enough? Like, I guess my question is, for like a football player, you kind of know the clock is ticking as soon as you walk on the field, depending on how much damage you take. But I guess for esports, that can be a profound amount of time, right?
Yeah, so like technically, okay. So I could go pro, technically, right? Like if I was putting in 180 hours a week, I could go pro. So there's two things that really affect esports. As you saw, that 13-year-old has 170 hours in 2 weeks. As a adult that has to support myself, I cannot play Rocket League that much. That is too much. I would lose my girlfriend, my apartment, and my job. Oh, thanks, Tony. Thanks for having me. I appreciate being here. I always love talking to y'all. So the clock is kind of ticking in that stance, where if you don't make it pro by the time you have to start self-supporting, like supporting yourself, it's very hard to put in that kind of hours. It also, it's very similar to languages, where younger kids learn new things very quickly, and older people don't learn as well. So like the flip reset was not always in the game. And even now, like I have probably well into 100 hours of just doing flip resets. And even now I mess them up sometimes, right? So like I'm still technically learning flip resets, whereas a 13-year-old might need to put in 50 hours, maybe 70, and they mastered it. They're done. They're good. So that's kind of the two like differences. It's like the younger you are, the faster you can learn and adapt and shift with the meta and learn all these like cool mechanics and be better at the game. And you don't have to have a job to pay the bills. So the 180 hours in 2 weeks is somewhat acceptable. But yeah, so like technically I could be pro. I think the oldest pro right now is 24, but I think it's a guy now. I think she retired. But they've been a pro since they were like the beginning of the game. So they haven't had to like have that full-time job to pay the bills. Let's see. Keith, more about roster planning. Obviously for Rocket League, it is 3v3. Are you planning to have one varsity team, or do you create a varsity team? Only 3 students, or is it a good idea to make varsity 4 students that you rotate? So what Drury does is we have 2 teams, basically an A and a B team like you would in like middle school basketball. The varsity players play all the games they can. They practice together, they train together, and then the highest of the non-varsity team, the highest, basically we kind of made it a competition because it didn't really matter because they were all pretty much the same. Or I mean, you can try to feel it out, like whoever gels with the higher team better. You can do, replace them in a scrim or 2 and see which one works out better with the other 2. Like if you have one guy that's going to have, maybe they'll have basketball or something on Wednesdays, but you have a game on Monday and Wednesdays. So sub in a different player from the lower team every week until one starts gelling, and then that's who your official sub is. Or you can make it like the highest ranked player at the time gets to be the sub. Or really, sometimes it comes down to who is available. So, but yeah, Drury does it to where we have the 3 main on the roster, and then we pretty much made it, because he was higher ranked than the other 2, so we made it the highest ranked player from the lower roster got to be the sub. And so like we would put them on like tournament sheets and stuff, but he didn't. I think he only played like twice or something. You have to be careful though, because some leagues will require you to use your sub at least once or twice. I don't think MOSEF is like that. I highly doubt it, because it's kind of an outdated rule now. But some leagues will make you use your sub, so whenever you register, make sure they are good to go. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Keith. As far as pay, some of these pros get paid really well. Alex, like way too good. Not too good because they put in the hours, but
I was gonna
they get
say
paid
like
well.
they can't be like the only sport I can imagine that would be similar would be like baseball, because they have an insanely long season, but they're still not like, if you're playing 180 hours every 2 weeks, you're putting in 90 hours a week, so you're playing at least better than 13 hours a day, something like that.
Yeah, that's yeah. The math is actually ridiculous. 13 hours a day is nuts. Yeah, that's. I mean, when you're, I don't know, man. When I was 13, I may have had that kind of time, but it's a commitment. So, actually, Keith, I don't really know how much that 13-year-old is making, but I think that's why Tony brought it up, is because this was a first of its kind, signing a player that can't go pro yet. Like, there have been players that have been like rumored, like, oh, when he turns 15, he's going to get picked up instantly, and they pretty much do. But this is like, he got signed and he is now cashing a salary essentially at 13 years old. From a coaching standpoint, do you have any thoughts on how to handle co-ed teams? I really want to make our program as inclusive as possible, but it can get complicated. The mindset that I try to get my players into, and like the people that I coach, and this goes for just like anything really in life, and it goes for the like opponents. No dating other players. That's probably a good one. You wanna avoid the. But then when you tell them no, they can't do something, that's like the forbidden fruit, right? So I don't know. But the mindset that I try to get my players into is to understand that the people that you're playing against, that you're playing with, have put in just as much effort and just as much time as you have, especially if they're coming to practice and they're doing the workouts and they're doing the training and all that. So just to have like a mutual level of respect for each other, right? It doesn't matter if they're a girl or a boy or whatever. It doesn't matter if the other team is good or bad or whatever. You know, you have respect for the effort and the time they put into the game, and just to have that kind of that mutual agreement. Like, I know that you're trying your hardest, and you know that I'm trying my hardest, and that's we're gonna move on, and that's how we're gonna deal with it.